Today we're going to talk about women's hormones, not the TikTok version, not the throw a pellet in and hope for the best, but I am going to break down the hormones that impact women and we monitor and manage. So estradiol, testosterone, progesterone, thyroid, DHEA, when to use them, what they do, what can go wrong, how to actually manage them. Because the truth is that women's hormones aren't complicated. Women are magical creatures, and all of these need to be titrated specifically and individualized per each woman for the best outcomes. Each woman may have different levels where she's going to function the best, and we got to find how to optimize them, which provides her the best synergy, the best hormonal environment that gives her her best outcomes. These hormones don't work in isolation, they work in a system. Estradiol is in the brain, blood flow, metabolism. Testosterone helps with drive, strength, libido. Progesterone is calming, sleep, stability, cycle. Thyroid's the metabolic engine. And DHEA is kind of the support layer on top of all of that. If you're chasing just numbers, you're going to miss the entire system. Estradiol is one of the most misunderstood hormones in medicine. It's villainized for years after the DHEA. In reality, it's doing a lot of the heavy lifting and is very safe. We don't need to fearmonger estradiol. We need to encourage its use and be more comfortable prescribing it because it's going to give women their life back, give them bone protection, cardiovascular protection, mood, and it just overall helps a lot of things. So what it does, it improves brain function and mood. It helps with vaginal, urinary tract health, bone mineral density, cardiovascular health, skin, collagen, nitric oxide, and blood flow. And another thing is just estradiol is one of the most natural antidepressants we have. When estradiol drops, mood often follows. There is some cardiovascular nuance because we used to lump all estrogen together and say that it was harmful. That, including in the DHEA, was conjugated equine estrogen. That's not bioidentical estradiol that we use now. And so we're going to use oral bioidentical estradiol if we're using an oral estrogen. And that can go through the liver and have fatty acid ester metabolites, which are beneficial for lipid pathways. And sometimes we use transdermal, which does not get these fatty acid esters, but may be better tolerated in someone with a hypercoagulable state. So smokers, or if they have coagulation deficiencies or just overall any coagulopathies. So there are different delivery methods. And it's not black and white. But another thing is, even if we have you on a systemic estradiol like patch or oral, vaginal estrogen still may be needed. This is one of the most underutilized treatments in medicine. It improves tissue health, restores the vaginal microbiome, reduces recurrent UTIs. And so this can be absolutely life-changing, if not life-saving, because we're providing a better environment so that this bacteria cannot adhere and we're preventing these recurrent UTIs. These UTIs, if you're getting them over and over and over and getting antibiotics over and over and over, you can get resistant bacteria. And now if we throw our normal antibiotics at you and it goes untreated because we didn't culture it off the bat or anything, it could work to your kidneys, get pyelonephritis, you can get septic, et cetera, et cetera. All that can be treated with vaginal estradiol, and all women can have vaginal estradiol regardless of cancer history, smoking status, et cetera. So it has low systemic absorption and very high local benefits. And we will bring in estradiol typically perimenopause time, menopause for sure. Perimenopause is tough because you're getting cycles of really high estrogen with low estradiol states. And so it's hard to kind of time, but it does have its place, especially if someone is having hot flashes, night sweats, mood changes, joint pain, recurrent UTIs, vaginal dryness or painful intercourse, and oral creams, patches. There are some vaginal rings. We never use pellets. You can't control the dosing. And if you're having side effects, you're locked in and we can't take them out. And so we just don't use pellets. Side effects of estradiol can be breast tenderness, fluid retention, mood shifts, uterine lining stimulation if you still have a uterus and we're not providing progesterone at the same time. And so for troubleshooting, sometimes you need to look beyond the estrogen and make sure that it's balanced with progesterone. Or we can change the delivery method. There's different ways to kind of monitor estradiol. And so let's talk about testosterone in women. Women need testosterone, and they don't need extreme levels, but physiologic levels matter. We have women where we see they just don't have any testosterone at all. And testosterone is touted a lot of times as a CEO hormone in women. It gives them that energy and drive and that confidence, that cognitive function that they need to make these executive decisions. And then it does have good side effects of improved libido. But another thing too, it's going to help improve muscle mass, bone health. And so as much muscle as we can get, again, muscle is the organ of longevity. If we can increase your muscle mass, it's going to help you age gracefully and prevent a lot of age-related decline that can happen as you lose lean body tissue. So we'll bring it on. You can consider testosterone replacement in a woman with low libido, fatigue, loss of strength, brain fog, kind of if they just say, I don't feel like myself. Typically we'll use injections and creams because these can both be adjusted. Again, we don't use pellets, testosterone pellets in women either, just from, again, if they're having side effects, they don't tolerate it well, we can't go fish it out, and you're just kind of locked in, and they're just not the best way to control it. So side effects of testosterone can be acne, oily skin, hair growth, voice changes. You can get voice deepening. This is rare, typically dose dependent on real high doses. Clitoris enlargement. This is not anything where you're like growing a penis or anything like that. It is just typically like a pea or two size bigger. Again, can be dose dependent, but it is something that we'll monitor for and adjust if needed. And so again, if you're having acne, we'll adjust delivery or balance with estradiol. If things are still off, we're going to check your thyroid, sleep, stress, everything. So let's kind of touch on progesterone. If estradiol is the foundation, progesterone is what is stabilizing everything. What it does, we like oral micronized progesterone because it goes through the liver and converts to allopregnanolone, which has a really good calming effect, which improves sleep, reduces anxiety, balances estrogen, supports uterine health. And the going through the liver and getting this allopregnanolone metabolite is a feature. It's not a bug of micronized progesterone. So we like to purposely use it this way. So if estradiol is antidepressant, progesterone is anti-anxiety. And so it shines in PCOS, dysfunctional uterine bleeding, perimenopause. And perimenopause, drop in progesterone is typically the first symptom. And that is where now the mood swings and everything can happen from the loss of progesterone. Sleep issues is something that's a early sign in perimenopause, and progesterone can help with the sleep. Mood instability, and so progesterone can help with that mood stabilization. And so for a lot of women, it ends up being the saving grace. If you have watched the discussion with Nico Mesla that I've done previously, he even equates progesterone in women having as much of an impact as testosterone does in guys. And I see that same in practice as well, because it is just so powerful in kind of allowing everything to stabilize in a woman's life. So we are huge fans of progesterone, and we'll bring it on when females are complaining of poor sleep, anxiety, irregular cycles, PMS symptoms, estrogen dominance. If someone says estrogen dominance, a lot of times I'm thinking not enough progesterone. And so it's a balancing act. Again, we like oral for the allopregnanolone, but you can use it topically. Again, it's not very good results. I'd really rather, if we need it during the day or higher doses, do it to where you'll have minimal conversion through the liver, and we can discuss that further if you need. But potential side effects of progesterone is grogginess, dizziness. Bloating is some that we get, and so if you are one that gets some bloating when starting progesterone, let us know. Progesterone can slow everything down, and so don't take it after a huge meal. After you eat, you can go on a short walk, watch carbonated drinks at night. If you're gassy, that gas has nowhere to go whenever the motility slows from the progesterone. Pull back on high fermentation foods like cruciferous vegetables, or sugar alcohols. Make sure you're drinking plenty of fluids. We love magnesium. That can help with the bloating a lot and help you sleep a little bit better. And most importantly, this typically just improves with time. So instead of just giving up on it, give it a little bit more time, let us know, and we'll throw out some things to help with the bloating options as well. So last, thyroid, you can optimize everything else, but if your thyroid's off, the whole system's not going to perform. It's the rate limiter. It's going to improve your metabolism, your energy, temperature regulation, helps with weight, helps with hair, skin, and nails. And so we're definitely going to consider thyroid whenever you have increased fatigue, increased difficulty losing weight, cold intolerance, hair thinning, brain fog. This only comes in oral and needs to be taken on a completely empty stomach first thing in the morning. If we overdo it, you can have anxiety, palpitations, tremors. And if we underdo, we don't give you enough thyroid, you can kind of have the persistent symptoms of just everything slowing down, constipation, cold intolerance, etc. And so we're going to also get a more in-depth thyroid evaluation with labs, making sure we follow your free T3, free T4, TSH. And then another thing, you're still symptomatic, we are going to check iron and ferritin levels to make sure it's being absorbed optimally. We'll check thyroid antibodies to make sure that you don't have Hashimoto's or an autoimmune dysfunction with your thyroid. And then also, again, as we always do, are making sure your sleeping is okay. DHEA is the last little cherry on top. It supports the system, but it's not the main driver in anything. It's a precursor to estrogen, testosterone. It may help fill the gap with a little bit better energy, a little bit better libido, a little bit better improvement in brain fog. And this is something that we have that we can quantify with DHEA levels on your labs. And so we'll follow that. And you want to specifically get the micronized version so it's absorbed better. Side effects of this is acne, hair growth, irritability. And so we'll start low and we'll monitor with labs. And so we're just not throwing it in blindly. And so putting it all together, you don't want to just do it like a checklist, like done, done, done. You want to individualize per each woman. Low libido isn't always testosterone. Mood isn't always estrogen. Fatigue isn't always thyroid. It's a system problem, not a single hormone problem. But hormones help a freaking lot. They don't override poor sleep, chronic stress, inconsistent nutrition, but they will amplify good habits. Whatever you're putting into them, you'll get more out of them, but they don't replace poor lifestyle choices. So if you take anything from this, let's just do quick summaries. Estradiol supports the brain, the heart, the bones, the body. Progesterone stabilizes it. Testosterone drives it. Thyroid powers it. And DHEA supports the whole system. Get them all working together and everything starts to feel easier. And so let's work to getting your optimized hormonal treatment. Would be very individualized to which levels work best for you, and we will continue to work with you along that process. If you have any questions or want to work with us, reach out and we'll be happy to answer any questions.